Hi, this is Sweet June coming back at you. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. Whew, thank God it's Friday. Um, I want to talk about it's been something that's been marinating on my mind for the past few days, and this is on the heels of my other video that I did about YouTube. Um, should if they want to ban other people or drop other people's videos, then they need to be dropping the black men on YouTube that are bashing black women and bad mouthing black women. Um, this is kind of on the heels of that one, but it's been, I've been marinating on it. When I marinate, it's time for me to get it off my chest. Um, so it's just I gotta get it off my chest because I've been marinating, so I gotta get it off my chest. Um, I think it's interesting because black men. It was a couple. Some black men came on my in my comment section, and they said that um, they're trying to help black women by in their videos when they're bashing black women and bad mouthing black women. They their story and their claim is that they're trying to help us. And some guys came in my comment section and they said that, oh, we're just trying to help you. And then one guy actually said, uh, uh, I forget what name it was, but he actually called me a name or called black women a name in his comment. He put a name in his comment, and then he said they're just only trying to help us. So I came back and I told him, no, you're not trying to help us. Yeah, I said you're bad mouthing us. You're bad mouthing us like you just did. Duh. I'm like, you're bad mouthing us like you just did. So he basically just proved my point. All he did was he just proved my point, which my point was, um, they're saying that they're helping us, but all they're doing is getting on video and calling us a bunch of names. And the thing is, um, when the average black woman looks at one of these videos, and the black men are talking about, they call themselves trying to address the problems in the black community, um, that involves black women. They call themselves addressing those issues that involve black women in the black community. But then while they're addressing those issues, they're calling us all kind of horrible names. Now, when I look at those videos, I have the tendency to gravitate towards the name calling more so than um, the message that they're trying to convey. That's mostly what I gravitate towards because at the end of the day, I'm not really gonna get the gist of what you're trying to say because all you did a bunch of cussing, using foul language, and calling us a bunch of horrible names. So at the end of the day, I really didn't get what you were trying to say because the only thing I could focus on was only thing you were saying was a bunch of horrible names. So to me, that's not help. But I'm gonna title this video "Black Men on YouTube Insult Black Women's Intelligence." And I look at it as, I was marinating on this. I said, you know what? They're insulting our intelligence. I told the guy that in my comment section. I think I said, do not insult my intelligence. You come on YouTube and you call black women a bunch of terrible, horrible names. Where every name in the book, we're the worst women on the planet. I've heard everything from hair-hatted hooligans, whores, Um, we look like men. Uh, I've heard everything from that. We're ugly. To all the way to we're the most horrible, terrible women on the planet. Pretty much. I've heard every derogatory statement that you can ever think of to call a human being from some of these black men on YouTube. Now I don't look at a lot of their videos. I don't waste my time trying to look at all of them, but the ones that I've seen, uh, they call us terrible names. And the black women that date outside the race, preferably black or white men, they call them all kinds of horrible names. Bed wenches, but never say anything about black men dating white women and other women of races. Never have anything to say about them. Never ever have any horrible names to call them. But then all of a sudden, there's a big issue with a black woman dating outside the race. All of a sudden, a woman is a bed wench. You know, so they even got horrible names to say about black women that date outside the race. No black woman is exempt. Uh, they have something to say about black women that have degrees and are educated. They call, which it's a lot of black women that are educated. They got something horrible to say about those black women. Um, they every horrible name and every horrible thing that they can possibly think of off the top of their head to say about another human being. That's what they say about us. A whole lot of them. And so um, they claim to be helping us. But my question is, how is that helping us? How is getting on video and calling us all kinds of horrible names helping us? How does that help? If that's your idea of helping, then I don't want your help. That'd be just like I got two sons. Now that'd be just like me, um, Now, everybody knows that when you're raising children, that it's important as a parent to do whatever you can to make sure that your child grows up with a healthy self-esteem. I mean, everybody that's a parent that has children pretty much knows that. I mean, that's a no-brainer. As a parent, you need to do everything you can to ensure that your children have a healthy self-esteem, right? And now throughout the time that you're raising your kids, I mean, throughout the years that I was raising my sons, I would talk to them about different things, and I would try to, encourage them and try to talk to them about different things and tell them um, the difference between right and wrong, and tell them things that I felt that was going to benefit and help them, as a loving mother should, as a loving mother should. Now, hypothetically, what if in the process of me trying to tell my sons that I call myself trying to tell them something that's going to help them, that's going to benefit them, and what if in the midst of the process of me doing that, I call them every name in the book, and I cuss them out, and I call them every name in the book? Now they're not going to get. Both of my sons are kind of sensitive. The youngest one is very sensitive. At least I think they are. Now, they're gonna completely miss the message that I'm trying to convey to them, that that's beneficial to them, that's gonna help them, that's gonna benefit them. They're gonna completely ignore that. The only thing that they're gonna focus on is the name calling and the cursing. So if I'm trying to talk to them and tell them something that's gonna benefit them, that's gonna help them, the last thing I want to do is call them names and do a bunch of cussing. That's the last thing I'm going to want to do. because they're not gonna get it. They're gonna completely ignore the helpful information, and the only thing that they're gonna focus on is me calling them a bunch of names and cussing them out. And that's the only thing that they're gonna focus on. I'm just using that as a parable. That's I'm just using that. I'm just saying that as a parable, as an example. So they're gonna completely miss my point. And then later on, if I ask them, "Did you understand what I was trying to tell you?" They'll the particularly the youngest one, because my youngest son is very vocal when he feels like I've disrespected him. He's very vocal about it, and he will let me know. My oldest son will too, but my youngest son is a little bit more sensitive than my oldest son. So he will, if he feels like I've disrespected him in any kind of way, he doesn't waste any time letting me know. And so if I did that to him, he would be like, "Mom, I don't like the way you talk to me, and I didn't like the way you cuss me out. I didn't like the way you call me names, and why would you talk to me that way?" And so on and so forth. Because I know my youngest son. My youngest son will definitely let me know if he feels like he's being disrespected, and because he has in the past, and that kind of puts me in check and kind of makes me think, okay, let me reword some things. Or um, if I say something to him, and if I don't say it in the right way, then he will let me know about it. Yeah, I mean, because my youngest son is a little on the sensitive side, so I have to even be careful with as far as my tone. I have to be careful even the tone that I use with him. You know, if I use a specific tone with him, he's gonna pick up on it, and he's very vocal about it, and he will let me know that, "Mom, I don't like the way you don't have to talk to me like that." And because I let both of my sons express themselves and um, say whatever's on their mind, as long as they do it with respect, um, then he's very vocal about it if he feels like I've disrespected him. So if I'm trying to tell them something that's benefiting them, the last thing I want to do is cuss them out and call them a bunch of names, because ultimately that's not helping them. That's tearing them down. How am I helping them by cussing them out and calling them names? That's not being helpful, because now all I've done is hurt their feelings. That's all I've done. And it may leave us at a lasting scar. It may sometimes, words, they say words don't hurt. Words are very powerful, and words do hurt. That's that saying they have, "Sticks and stones shall break my bones, but names will never hurt me." Not true. Words are very powerful, and words do hurt. And so um, sometimes you can say something to somebody, and they may never recover from it. Emotionally, they may never recover from it. They could be so devastated and so hurt by what you said, they can never recover. They may never recover from what is said. And sometimes married couples, if a husband says something to a wife, uh, or a wife says something to a husband, and if it's really, really damaging what was said, that that husband or that wife may never recover from it, depending on what was said, because you can't take words back. Once you have said something, you can't take it back. You can apologize all you want, but you can't take it back. Once you've said it, then you can't take it back. So we have to be careful about what we say. Words do hurt, and words are very powerful. And so there is a lot of power in words. And so black men, when they come on here, call themselves trying to help us. They say they're trying to help us, and everything that comes out of their mouth, every other word is a cuss word. And during the midst of them trying to help us, they're calling us a whole bunch of names, and every dirty, filthy name that they can think of the top of their head. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not help, because all I've gotten from you is at the end of your video, that this is the message that I got. Well, he's bitter. against black women. He has a lot of bitterness against black women, and he probably hates black women. And that's the only thing that I'm going to get from your video. I'm not going to get that you call yourself trying to address the issues in the black community, and you're trying to say things you think that's gonna benefit us. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get it. Because when you're cussing and you're calling with black women a bunch of names, then all I'm gonna get is that, well, he seems to have a lot of bitterness against black women, and he obviously hates black women. If I came on YouTube, some of you brothers out there, let me know in the comments section what you think about this question. What if I came on YouTube and I claimed to be helping black men, but everything that I said was a cuss word, and I called black men every horrible name, deplorable name that I could possibly think of, during the midst of me trying to help black men? How would you take that? How would you guys like that? Let me know in the comments section. How would you like that? How would you like me trying to address the issues in the black community concerning black men? But in the midst of me doing that, I'm calling black men every name in the book. And I'm constantly cursing. How would you take that? Would you take it as me trying to help you? And then at the end of my video, I have the audacity to say I'm trying to help you. Would you take it as me helping you? Or would you be highly insulted? I think at the end of, if I did a video like that, at the end of that video, a lot of black men would probably be cussing me out and calling me horrible names and all that. And I'd be willing to bet that they wouldn't take it as me trying to help them. They would completely miss the message of me trying to help them. And they would probably be highly insulted. So think about that. Flip the script. How would you feel if black women, there's probably some black women that do that. I'm sure there is black women on YouTube that do that. They talk about the issues with black men, but they're calling black men horrible names in the process. How do you, brothers out there, how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel that she's helping you? Or do you feel insulted? Do you think at the end of her video that she loves black men? Or do you think that she's bitter against black men? Okay, so think about it. I mean, words are very powerful. So we have to be careful. There's nothing wrong with talking about the issues in the black community. I'm passionate about what's going on in the black community. I like to address what's going on in the black community. There's nothing wrong with being passionate about what's going on in the black community. We need to get a dialogue going. We need to talk about the issues. I don't have a problem with that. And the truth does need to be spoken, because there's too much going on in the black community for it not to be spoken. We can't sugarcoat. We can't afford to sugarcoat. There's too much going on. You got to keep it real. You got to keep it 100. There's nothing wrong with that. But in the process of you keeping it 100, why do you have to call black women a bunch of names in the process? Why do you have to get on your videos and do all this cussing and call black women a bunch of horrible names? And generalize. You say you're not talking about black women, but it's your wording. It's the way that they word it. The way that they word it and their wording, they're somehow suggesting that all black women are a certain way. And so, and then don't understand why black women are taking it that way. And so, it's nothing wrong with talking about the issues in the black community, but then you can't talk about black women's issues without talking about the black men. You can't leave black men out the equation. And most likely, 9 times out of 10, when they're talking about the issues in the black community, they're just talking about black women. And when they do talk about the black men, they go back and blame the black women. No, there's issues with black men in the black community that the black men need to take responsibility for. Because the Bible says the man is the head. Okay, so the black men are supposed to be leading the black community. Okay, so you can't just put all the issues on the black woman. So you can't talk about the black woman's issues without talking about the black man's issues. So they never talk about both sides. They're always talking about just this. It's more than it's two sides to a coin. So they're always talking about just black women's issues, but then they never talk about the black man's issues. And when they do, they go back to blaming the black women. And so that let me know. That also let me know right there you're not helping. Because if you were really passionate about the black community, you would talk about what's going on. You would give us a much bigger picture. Okay, you would give us a bigger picture, and you would talk about everything that's going on in the black community, and you will be holding everybody accountable, not just black women. If you were really, really that passionate about what was going on in the black community, I just think at the end of the day they're using that as an excuse. So that's what I'm talking about, black men. Please do not insult black women's intelligence because we know better. Okay? That's what I wanted to say. Let me know what you think in the comments section. More interesting video topics coming up. Like and share my video. This is Sweet June.